Why did the police suddenly rush back to Taehyung's house at dawn? What shocking evidence did they uncover? And why is Jungkook demanding a full investigation no matter the cost? Why did the police return to Taehyung's private residence in the middle of the night, long after the break-in case was declared under controlled investigation? Why did the lead investigator refuse to comment, and why did HWB security empty an entire block around the property before sunrise? And more importantly, what could they have found that made Jungkook personally call the police and demand that every trace of truth be uncovered? Before you scroll any further, subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you believe justice must be served, because what you're about to read will shake you to your core. The tension surrounding the break-in incident at Taehyung's home had barely begun to settle when the public was hit with a shocking new development. Late last night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., police vehicles returned to the singer's residence. According to internal sources close to the investigation, officers did not arrive for a routine follow-up, but because of a discovery so important that it has the power to reveal the identity of the intruder that has been haunting the case since day one. What was found? Why was it hidden until now? And who knew about it before the police did? The moment officers stepped onto the property, neighbors reported a sudden escalation in security. HYB personnel blocked all nearby windows, preventing drones, cameras, and even residents from observing what was happening. Witnesses described the atmosphere like a bomb was about to go off: whispers, tension, heavy footsteps, and an urgency that was impossible to ignore. Someone inside the circle knew exactly what had been found, and apparently, that someone informed Jungkook before the public had any idea. Hours earlier, Jungkook had been in a private meeting with investigators. Sources say he appeared stressed, exhausted, and determined, eyes red, voice firm, refusing to leave until the police promised not to stop digging. Why was he pushing so hard? Did he already know something that the rest of the world didn't? Was he afraid that someone close to Taehyung was involved, or that someone in power wanted the case buried? Then the bombshell dropped inside the house, small, easily overlooked, positioned so discreetly that even professional scanners missed it the first time. Police have not officially released details, but insiders described it as a critical physical clue. And it didn't belong to Taehyung. It didn't belong to anyone who was supposed to be inside the house. It belonged to the intruder. The reaction was immediate. According to investigators, the evidence contains trace elements linking to a person already on the radar. In other words, the police are inches away from knowing exactly who broke into Taehyung's home. That is why this return wasn't a casual procedure. It was a race against time before the culprit realizes what the police now possess. The emotional weight of the situation increased when Jungkook, who had been kept mostly out of the public eye since the incident, suddenly showed up at the investigation headquarters after midnight. He didn't arrive with security or management. He arrived alone with urgency, as if something inside him had reached a breaking point. Witnesses say that when investigators attempted to calm him, he answered with a sharp and painful line. "I'm not leaving until you find who's behind this. I'm not losing him to fear." Those words spread through the building like wildfire, shaking every officer who heard them. It wasn't just worry anymore. It was guilt, fear, anger, and loyalty merged into something ferocious. Jungkook had been holding everything in, pretending to be calm, trying not to escalate the chaos around Taehyung. But now the truth was undeniable. He was terrified, not just of the intruder, but of what the intruder wanted. Investigators stated, off the record, that the break-in was no random act. The placement of the hidden object, the timing, the lack of stolen property, everything pointed to intent. Someone entered the house not to take something, but to leave something. A message, a warning, a signature. And that clue may finally expose who that person is. As dawn approached, Taehyung's home transformed into the most guarded property in Seoul. Officers combed through every corner in complete silence, their faces tense, while Jungkook remained in contact through continuous calls, refusing to rest. No one could determine whether Taehyung was fully aware of the discovery, but sources close to him confirmed he has been withdrawn, anxious, and unable to sleep since the first night. It is unclear whether he has recovered emotionally, or whether the resurfacing investigation will only deepen his fear. The public wants answers. Army demands transparency. Fans feel betrayed by the silence, yet understand the level of danger surrounding the situation. But through all the confusion, one thing became clear. Jungkook is done being silent. That is why he contacted the investigator again this morning with a single message that has already become the most quoted phrase among fans. Don't stop until it's over. I don't care who gets exposed. I don't care who gets angry. Just find the person who stepped into his home. That sentence has created shockwaves not only among fans, but also among the entertainment industry. Who could he be referring to? Who would get angry if the intruder is exposed? Why did Jungkook emphasize, I don't care who gets exposed? Was he hinting at someone close? Someone trusted? Someone powerful enough to be protected? If the evidence found truly leads to the person investigators are thinking of, then the case will not just shake ARMY, it might shake the entire industry. Right now the world waits for one official confirmation, one name, one statement. Every social platform is alive with anxiety, hope, anger, and fear. ARMY wants justice. Jungkook wants closure. Taehyung wants peace. But the intruder, wherever they are, is watching too. And when the truth finally comes out, the world may learn that the danger wasn't outside Taehyung's home, but much closer than anyone ever expected. If you want the next update the moment the police release the identity, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe because this story isn't ending. It's only just beginning. The world thought the chaos had reached its peak, but the aftermath of the evidence discovery proved that the nightmare was still escalating. Only 30 minutes after investigators completed their second sweep of Taehyung's home, an emergency encrypted message was sent to HYB's internal security command. We're being watched. No additional explanation. No sender name. Only 2 words. And they were enough to send every guard into immediate alert mode. Someone out there knew that the police were close to uncovering the truth. HYB refused to issue a statement. The police declined interviews. And yet, somehow the information kept leaking. Not enough to reveal everything, but enough to trigger pandemonium among fans. Something was happening behind the scenes, and every choice made from this point forward could determine whether Taehyung and Jungkook were safe or targeted. Around 4:51 a.m., Jungkook's vehicle was seen outside the investigative building again. People who witnessed the moment described an overwhelming energy, fury, fear, desperation, and unwavering loyalty fused into one. He didn't run. He didn't shout. But every step he took radiated urgency. When he was stopped by an officer, Jungkook reportedly said something that left the entire room frozen. If this is connected to who I think it is, then you have no idea how big this really is. Who could he be referring to? Was he suggesting a personal connection? A rival? Someone who had a motive? Someone who had a history with either of them? Investigators refused to comment, but multiple insiders confirmed the suspect currently being evaluated is far from a random offender. That means the intruder may not only be identifiable, they may have been close enough to Taehyung to understand the layout of the house, the urgency of timing, and the whereabouts of every security blind spot. The biggest question now is not whether the intruder will be caught, but what will happen once their identity becomes public. Would the entertainment industry try to bury the truth, fearing scandal and economic consequences? Would the police receive pressure to soften the blow? Would HYB step in to negotiate off the record before the name goes public? Or would Jungkook push the truth into the spotlight regardless of personal consequences? Because right now, nobody can deny what has become painfully clear. Jungkook is done protecting anyone except Taehyung. Meanwhile, Taehyung has remained completely silent. Not a message, not a public appearance, not even a liking activity on any platform.